So a week has gone by since I just did a couple of the updates, what we were doing field work wise. I'll go show you around and see what we've got done. We had some rain, some other things, so we had to stop doing field work, but it's pretty nice right now. But before I do that, my Colorado, my work truck, is missing on all cylinders but one. So I think it's time that we finally do some maintenance. And I got all new coils and plugs for it. And then it also has like a clogged PCV valve. So I've had this filter on the dipstick, a little filter, just so that the crankcase can breathe a little bit out. I've had it like that for like maybe 2 years. So I'm gonna try to fix that and get the PCV valve cleaned out. It's probably stuck, I don't know, we'll see. And I wanna route it somewhere else so that it all doesn't just go back into the intake. And these things always have a problem of running terribly over long periods of time, and you can sea foam them and stuff, and they just idle rough, and there's all kinds of problems. But we've had a bunch of these on the farm, so I think this is like number 5 that we've had, and they all end up doing that same thing. So I'm gonna get this thing pulled apart and get all this done, and then I'll go show you what's been going on the farm. Okay, quick side note here. I need to get better at filming all the things that I know are going to go wrong, which are basically my normal day-to-day activities. My good friend Jacob bought a rollback tow truck from an auction and a parts truck. So we went to go pick it up. I was just supposed to give him a ride, and he was just going to load the parts truck on the rollback tow truck and just drive it down the road a ways and drop it off. But it ended up turning out to be a little bit more than that. So it's just a few shots here. I wish I got more video of it. We're cruising a nice, let's see, 5 miles an hour it's looking like. It's a big pull. It's a real big pull up here. Man, it's the big hill. Man, it's a big hill. Does it stop? Does it stop? Out of all things in this picture, which thing do you think Jacob bought? I wonder if it could be that. We made it about a mile and have to do some rewiring. She's a little rough, but let's see if we can make it the rest of the way. So we're doing pretty good now. It would have been nicer if you would have bought a tow truck, because this thing just doesn't seem to run very good, and we could tow it, but you did buy a tow truck, it just doesn't run. So finally successful after many traffic stops and just lots of making people mad, but we made it. It's made it all the way back with all the other stuff. So, I mean, fits right in here. Okay, I got the plugs out, new plugs installed and new coils installed. And she purrs as good as a unbalanced inline 5 can purr. So I ended up installing a breather back there. So that's a crankcase breather. Basically, I got rid of it. Doesn't have a PCV valve, which I thought it would have a PCV valve, but it's just a direct tube from the crankcase right back in the intake. So now that's going to vent externally and not get any of that stuff back in there. Here's one of the backfields that we were trying to work up this spring, and this was pasture last fall, and we actually plowed it about halfway with a switch plow, broke the switch plow in half. We were borrowing it, and yeah, we broke it in half, and then we actually disc the other half first, 2 passes, like one pass perpendicular to the other pass, so it really cut the grass up. And then we plowed it, and that worked out great with that was just a bottom plow. And then this is disced with the big disc twice. We've went over it once, kind of diagonally, and then diagonally the other, and we'll do one more pass, and then we're probably just going to plant some grain in it to clean the rest of it up. But it's a little bit uneven, but it's breaking down. It's breaking down pretty good. So that last pass will kind of get rid of the rest of the clods and hopefully take care of it. So we were just in that backfield right behind the excavator, but this is where we moved the excavator because we have a big plateau here, kind of dirt, you can kind of see, where we like to get fill dirt. So we had a project last week that we had Rylan filling in a ditch and had to put some new pipe in, and he had to come grab some fill dirt. So, and we have a bunch of other ditches we need to fill in, so we'll just probably leave it back here for a while so we can grab fill dirt easily. Actually, you can see the other place here, it's just over here. So let me try zooming in. I don't know if you can see the tractor right there. So that's a pasture that we just got that has a bunch of just like flood ditches in it and stuff. And we want to put a pivot in it, and we got to get all that stuff filled in. So we'll have to take a lot of that dirt over there in the end, and we'll probably need more than that. So right now I think Sterling's running the Harrow over there. So the other thing is we got all the Harrow's field. Well, Rylan was running the tractor, and he got most all the alfalfa fields harrowed. Some of the fields, I don't know if you still want to call them alfalfa fields, but this field right here was the field that we had basically the fence between them, and had that big pile of dirt going down that fence line. Manuel was pushing with the dozer. I brought the big disc in, kind of leveled that berm out, and then we actually took the smaller disc and just kind of crown cut the field right next to it because it had so much grass and random stuff in it. So we're gonna do kind of a test and see what it does to alfalfa. But I mean, that was where that fence was all through there. I mean, you can't really see it now, so it turned out pretty good. Didn't take that much work, but we got it done. So this was the field that I had already disked earlier with the big disc, and then I basically moved over to this field where Adrian's currently running the tractor, and the fence was basically going from kind of where these piles were all the way to that pivot center over there. So the guys pulled that fence out, built another fence over by the pivot. We moved a lot of the calving herd over to that grain field because we had to go and harrow the alfalfa field that they were in. So we got that done, and now Adrian's doing basically a second pass as these fields combined. Took out the big berm of that fence and are running basically east to west, and we're gonna plant russet potatoes in here east to west. And so we're making it one big field just to make it a little bit more efficient, and hopefully it'll turn out pretty good. Well, like I said earlier, this was where all the cows were calving in, and so we ended up moving them from that pivot, which is a pretty big pivot, over to this pivot, which I kind of just showed over here. So we got the alfalfa pivot here on the right harrowed, and that's all good to go. That was the main reason for moving them. So this is the Powerline Field, and I got this thing disked, and then there was a huge ditch basically in the middle of this field because of the previous owner had dug up the pipe. So there was a irrigation supply pipe underground here that broke, so they just ended up digging up right where the pipe broke and then dug this ditch all the way over to the supply where there's a sump over there and a pump. So it was just a random ditch in the middle, and we ended up just basically digging that pipe, finding the break, and then putting all new pipe into that supply. It's actually the neighbor's supply, so it has nothing to do with us, but we just wanted it done so we can plant spuds in this whole field as one shot. So we're just trying to get all these newer fields cleaned up and put together. And this is where a couple loads of the fill dirt had to go back in, as you can see the different color right here. So we got that done. Well, actually my stepbrother Rylan got that done. So, side note, he said don't judge his grading work because he's doing it with the little excavator, and I'm still always going to judge his grading work, and I'll have to call him and tell him how terrible it is. So this over here is just a little 40-acre triangle field that we planted some specialty potatoes in last year, and we fall planted this grain, and then back there we still had 20 acres left that we're probably going to plant grain in again. So let's see, Adrian got that disced up last week, so that's ready to plant. So that last field I showed you was called, well, we call it West Stud, and this is East Stud, which is another 40-acre chunk that we will plant specialties again in this year, which these are really sandy, and that's what we need for the specialty potatoes, just for a really clean harvest. But we got this thing disced up also last week, and we got a pump brought in, but we're still gonna have to have a lot of planning here to get this thing set up. So that's just gonna be for frost protection on the potatoes, but the main irrigation set will be ran by this old setup here, which is pretty ghetto, but that's how it goes with a lot of this stuff. Most of the water supplied from across the road of a ditch and just kind of flows in this concrete culvert right here, and then just gets sucked up by the pump. So this is, and you basically set that flow rate and let it overflow into this side. So it's kind of funky. This is a leased field, so this isn't like our type of setup, but we're making it work, and we'll have to basically build something that we can plumb in the diesel pump, so on those nights that are going to freeze, we have enough horsepower to run all the sprinklers a little bit to keep all the potatoes from freezing. So that's what we got to do over here. Oh, and we also have to do basically the whole diesel and electric setup on that Powerline field that I just showed you, that's like over there somewhere. So here's another project that's going on, but it's just my other stepbrother Clayton doing it, which is the cleanup of this place. There's stuff everywhere. So we moved in most all the pipe and stuff. We call it the poles with no barn, and we've been parking stuff there, but he's gonna live here, and he's got a lot of cleaning up to do. So that's been happening when he has time, kind of on the weekends and when he gets off work. But hopefully we can get that cleaned up, and this will be our, I think our like hand line storage area back in here, and we do like to park some trailers over here and stuff, so works out pretty good. So we're currently over here at the truck shop, and we got an old gas truck in here. So this is the old gas truck that, I mean, we use this thing all the time. It's fantastic for what we use it for. We've been using it for probably, I mean, there's pictures of that my grandpa has from an airplane in the 80s with this truck still being used. So it's been a while, but we use it right now. We have a 185 compressor on it with hoses, and then twine, baling twine. We'll keep grease on it too for the small balers and the big balers. We'll also put fertilizer tanks on this thing and kind of haul that stuff around too. So we just kind of use it as everything. But the biggest downfall of it is it's had zero brakes, absolutely zero brakes for the past 3 years. And I mean, for people like us, it's not that big of an inconvenience. But it's about time that we fix that. So we're going through everything, seeing what it is, if it's the master, or this has got a hydro boost unit, and I don't know if the rear brake cylinders, just the little guys for the drums, are stuck or what's going on. It looks like they might be a stuck one. My dad's been working on it, so we'll see what he says, but we've been going through all this stuff. Hopefully we can get brakes back. So this was another pivot that was harrowed, and I mean, just the past couple days we've had a little bit of warmth, but there's a lot of growth here. So this is probably the best looking alfalfa field out of all of our fields. It's coming up real nice. This was a new plant last year, and it actually took really good. So I'm excited to see how it does this year. So that's actually another one of our projects over here at our big hay barn. This is where we store most all the hay that's for sale. This was just a pile of junk that's accumulated for, I mean, I remember it ever since I was young, could remember anything. So we had a scrapper come in here, clean all this stuff out, and basically this was the stuff that was kind of left over. We had a bunch of broken wheel line pieces and hand pipe and all kinds of stuff. So we had the guys last week getting all that stuff sorted through, and then we just have a couple things left here. And I'm gonna probably come in here, I still have like some stuff laying around, and get this graded off and gravel it, and then make it so you can come from the backside of the barn all the way around close to the solar panels and do a loop. So it makes it easy to come in here with equipment, because we just need more parking. We're running out of parking for equipment and stuff. So, and then you can see down here past solar panels, they got the little dozer over there. That's where our burn pile is. So that they've been leveling that out and cleaning that out. So lots of cleaning going on. So I do have some other pretty big news here. The golf cart has returned. I had some previous videos here with the golf cart, and since then, I mean, that was 3 years ago. It's put in about a year and a half worth of changing water, been a trusty steed, and it's in need of a lot of love, as you could guess. I'll show you. Steering is a little bit loose. It has about all of the play in the tie rods. So yeah, that's just one wheel right there. I mean, it's just in the tie rod ends, or not even the ends, just the bolts get loose and kind of wallow it out. But that's one thing. It's been through the big wreck of 2021, so that was a big event for it. Or maybe it's 2020. No, it's 2020. So it definitely needs some love there. Since then, the exhaust did have a problem. So I didn't have any tube when the exhaust broke. So I actually I've never seen a square tube exhaust. I mean, they're probably out there, but it's got custom square tube straight pipe. Kind of sticks out right here, and it's pretty rusty now, but it's a pretty good champ. But yeah, and then the rear axle kind of broke in half, but it's been welded. But I don't know, maybe I should get it up and running. It's a pretty good vehicle. No problems with the motor, but we'll see if we have time for that. It also looks like a random motorcycle showed up at my shop, one of the ranch irrigation bikes. I don't know why. Usually that means something's broken, and somebody just decided to bring it to me, and I'll have to figure that out. Well, there's my spring kind of startup update when us farmers come out of hibernation. So I'll probably have less time to work on random projects in the shop. So I thought, why not just film what I do now? Because I'm going to do it no matter what, and maybe somebody else wants to see it. Because we're a pretty unique operation, as we do a variety of things between cows, row crops, hay. It's just a mix of things. And the other thing is, us being on the West Coast in Oregon and where we're at, we have like a small field size compared to, most farmers that you would typically think of. Our field's size is somewhere in 100 acres, or I mean, a lot of fields are just 60 acres, but some of the pivots are bigger. A lot of the pivots are 220 acre pivots split up into sections, but we're just kind of like more European farmers over here compared to the typical big tractor, big horsepower Midwest farmers. We just have little field sizes, and it's just nothing compared to over there. But there are sections down on Lower Lake and stuff that we are leasing a field that's 240 acres, perfect rectangle. It's awesome to farms really quick, so that's nice. But I mean, those Midwest farms are you know, thousands and thousands of acres, and there's fields that are 1,000-acre fields. You know, I think we're a pretty unique operation, and between my brother and my dad and me, I mean, we like working on things more than your average farmer of this size, and we just have a lot of kind of homemade, custom-made things, and I want to show a lot of those things, and a really cool super supreme squeeze that we have out at our other place. I haven't been out there in a while, but I'll have to go out there, and just a bunch of stuff going on that I think people would like to see. So I'm going to try to shoot those. So thanks for watching, and if you guys like my videos, I'll try to post more stuff like this and more stuff like I like to work on in the shop.